Space. Observers were accredited to come and then observe the election. This is something that is obtainable everywhere. And I think one of the complaints is about the process, the operational failures that were encountered, issues of logistics, and INEC not keeping to its promise and following the Electoral Act, the provision, especially Nigerians having access to the results on IRF at real time, even though INEC talked about technical glitches, but people are not really confident like in the whole process, and reactions continue to trail. So we saw how even political parties and their presidential candidate have told the part of the court to say, no, we don't agree with the process and all of that. Just want to get your take on the whole process.
Yeah, thank you very much, Joyce, once again. And viewers, thank you for tuning in to join us on this discussion today. First of all, let's begin with the fact that this is probably the worst election Nigeria has experienced. Yeah, this is not just my take. This is a general opinion coming from people, from organizations, you know, home and abroad. And so when you look at what happened during the presidential / National Assembly election, you will get to know that there's something fishy. You will get to also believe that there was a plan, written, and these people acted the plan written. You know, so it just to say they were acting, you know, a script. But let me take you back to first of all, the primary elections that took place in Nigeria, sometimes between April, May, you know, June of 2022, where there was a heavy debate about whether the primary elections for parties were going to be by direct approach or indirect, you know, and there was quite a lot of arguments concerning that, because the politicians wanted a system that will favor them, a system that will keep them in power, a system that will return them to be the flag bearers for their different parties, you know. So and then we had a lot of anomalies to the point where presidential candidates went to the poll, National Assembly, flag bearers went to the poll. A lot of those flag bearers were challenged by other contestants, you know. Maybe later when we're talking about the governorship election, you will also get to realize that the primaries were flawed. The primary process, or the process that produced those flag bearers for different parties, was also flawed. So that was where the problem, you know, started. Now, and I think it's very important for us to also understand that Nigerians have become wiser. Nigerians are very, very concerned right now. Nigerians want to be involved in the formation of a new Nigeria, that new Nigeria that we have been talking about, that people have been talking about. A lot of millions of Nigerians want to be part of that Nigeria. So let's come to the point where we talk about the Electoral Act. There was an Electoral Act which was signed into law by the president, and the Electoral Act has rules, it has guidelines on which election will be conducted, and INEC promised Nigerians that they will follow these rules and regulations written in the Electoral Act by the letter. As a matter of fact, sometimes in January there was this rumor going around in the country, fake news all around there, which claimed that INEC is saying they will abandon the beavers, and then I remember very well, it's all over the social media. The INEC chairman came out and debunked that information. One Festus Okoye in the league of Festus Okoye, I think part of the legal team of part of the legal team of INEC. Okay, INEC. He's in the legal department of INEC. Came out and also debunked the fact that INEC has no plan whatsoever not to follow the rules and regulations written in the Electoral Act that has been signed into law. Then we came to the 25th of February of 2023. And then, of course, the three major candidates. You have the APC candidate, the PDP candidate, and then you have the Labour Party candidate. The election was really, really marred by a lot of anomalies. First of all, look at Lagos. Up to the moment that we're talking here, there are over 40 polling units results that have not been uploaded on the beavers.
I was going to take you there because during the week we saw how that INEC said they had uploaded 92% of the results.
So where's the 8%?
You get,
and that could make a lot of difference. So where's the 8%? And then we have a lot of videos. I participated in that election. I was in my polling unit voting, and we made sure that these results were uploaded. Unfortunately, there were other polling units where the INEC officials refused to upload the result. I personally think that the call for the cancellation of the presidential election that took place on the 25th of February of 2023 is a worthy call. It's a worthy call because the election was mad completely. I mean, we have a lot of irregularities. Just to let you know right now that PDP is leading a protest in Abuja, calling for the cancellation of the presidential, election. And then you have a lot of these other National Assembly, flag bearers who lost election, also calling for the cancellation of the election. So generally speaking, my take on the 2023 presidential election, the election was a fraud. INEC did not follow the rules she set to play the game. I mean, you just imagine that you said, there's going to be a game, and these are the rules to follow in that game. And INEC is supposed to be the ref for that game. And INEC all of a sudden just changed her mind and said, we will not follow the rule again. And of course, if you're not following the rules, it automatically open the space for anomalies, for rigging, for other things that are not supposed to be done, to be seen going on during, a presidential election where the whole world was ready to see what would become of Nigeria.
Well, some people are opining that there are irregularities in the process and all of that. I recall that even during the collation in Abuja, some party agents raised some observation like, wow, we still having the manual collation and we are not seeing display of data from the beavers, and so they don't believe in the process and they decided to walk out. Like I know PDP,
yes,
Labour Party, and amongst other parties,
yes,
and they say they can't be here to endorse fraud. But some people are still opining that this is the process was free and fair. And I remember the president this week in Qatar said that he defended the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying that anybody that has any issue with it can actually go to court. And you recall that some people that talked about the process said, yes, we are resorting to the court, and we saw how they went to the court. And so while he was defending the president-elect, he talked about the fact that he doesn't even have any plan to annul the election, because people were actually thinking, oh, we're going back to the case of 1993 where election was annulled. But I don't even know how possible it was going to be for him to even think of annulling, because we're in a democratic setting. Well, amidst all of this, certificate of return was
has
issued.
Been given, yes,
has been given. So what do you even make of the outcome of INEC issuing certificate of return amidst admitting that yes, there are actually challenges, technical challenges, the president talking about the irregularities, and up till now Nigeria is not knowing what the technical glitches are.
This is a proof to let you know that INEC rigged this election to favor the ruling party. And if the president came out to defend the ruling party's candidate who has been declared as the president-elect, and in the midst of irregularities, in the midst of national call for cancellation, in the midst of even international calls for an observation to say there was something. I mean, quite a lot of things were wrong with this election. That's it. So what I'm trying to say at this point is INEC has failed completely. INEC has failed Nigerians, and the president cannot single-handedly say he cannot cancel the election. See, the two parties already, the two other opposition parties are already at court. So the legal process over time, as we go on in this, moving towards 29th of May, we're going to see a lot of legal explanation coming out. I give you one of the examples we're talking about. The Constitution says for a candidate to be declared the winner of a presidential election, he must have won 2/3 of the states in Nigeria, including the federal capital, which is a seat of power. Now we have seen after the results were announced that the Labour Party candidate scored over or won. Of course, he won the seat of power with over 60%, making it impossible for the APC candidate and the PDP candidate to even get anything close to 22 or 23. Now, so if the Constitution says that you cannot declare a president-elect if he does not win the seat of power, how comes INEC? How did INEC just bullshit that, just bypass that, and declare the winner. And declared the APC candidate as a winner of that party. So that really doesn't make sense. So what Nigerians are hoping for right now, I personally, I'm looking forward to a legal interpretation, a legal process that will be objective, fair, free, without bias, that will interpret what really happened during the 25th general election at the presidential level to Nigeria. And let's see that the mandate is returned to the man who won this election. A lot of people are saying they no longer trust the legal system. For example, a Supreme Court judge has given INEC the permission to reconfigure the beavers. This is quite unfortunate. The beavers is the machine where we have all these results uploaded on, and so what the court is saying right now is reconfigure. When you flash your phone, everything just goes out. So whatever that has been uploaded on the beavers is automatically going to be cleaned completely.
No, but, they said that those information, those data have been backed up, and then they actually promised that
if we want them, they want to show them.
Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah. So if that is there, down you see that gives the legal team of either PDP or a Labour Party who are contesting the result of the election to go back and investigate what really happened, to bring their own agents' result side by side with what has been uploaded, and to prove to the court that the election was rigged. And I personally believe, this is my opinion, I believe strongly the election was rigged, and rigged by INEC to favor the ruling party.
Well, INEC is an independent body, and it continues to maintain the fact that it's impartial and it's not working for
INEC really independent? That's the question we need to ask. From all that has happened, INEC, you see, there are vested interests in this country. There are people who are playing insidiously with the democratic process of Nigeria. People who are bent on feeding themselves. People who are bent on making sure that nothing works for this country. Those are the people who are tampering with every process. Just imagine, I give an example again. The federal government budgeted over 305 billion naira for INEC to conduct election. Technically, using ICT to make sure that everything called a manual coalition, moving from point A to point B, is completely eradicated. So after spending that money, we came back on the 25th, and then we began to see the INEC chairman tearing a coalition of result that was done exactly in 2015. So what happened to the 305 billion or over 300 billion that the government gave for INEC to conduct a free and a fair election using ICT, using technology in the modern time? So leadership has failed. Leadership has failed. Leadership has failed in the sense that there's a rule on the ground. We have written the rules. What we're supposed to do is to follow the guidelines to the letter. And then the ref, which is the INEC, promised that we're going to follow this rule to the letter. And all of a sudden, they turn their back on it. I think INEC owes Nigeria an apology. All Nigerians, an apology to say, we're sorry, we didn't follow the rules. And because we didn't follow the rules, the election was mad. It's not correct.
Well, I recall that after the announcement, the INEC chairman talked about the fact that the election, the result that is coming out of the election is free, fair, and credible. And he maintained that though there are technical challenges that were encountered, and even though some Nigerians are saying we are yet to hear what those technical challenges or hitches are. But the president also talked about the fact that the election is obviously free, fair, and credible, and what the outcome is the reflection of the voice of Nigerians. You recall that even at the signing of the peace accord, the president said, while addressing the presidential candidates, urging them to, even after the results is being announced, nobody should resort to violence. He talked about the fact that he and then his administration, he wants to leave as legacy, as legacy, a free,
they conducted a fair,
credible, transparent election. Yeah. And then this is, I think, a term or words that we kept hearing from last year on papers, on TV, radios, on interviews. Like you always hear the president talking about the election is going to be free, fair, and credible, and no wonder the signing of the Electoral Act And I think it made Nigerians to believe in the process. No wonder the large turnout, even though drawing from the number of votes or voters that turn out for the election, you'll see that it's less than 30% of the 87 million voters card that were collected. And for some people, they tell you that there's no logic in that, because this is more like a time where Nigerians are more aware than before. Everybody was actually ready to go out there and then exercise this civic responsibility by collecting their PVC, going out to register. And I think we had an additional like 12 to 13 million new voter on the voter register. And from the election, we are just seeing that it's just barely 30% of the people that came out to vote. And no wonder people are actually questioning the process. I recall that one of our guests on the show talked about the fact that if a process is free and transparent, when people fail, they go down honorably. When people actually win at the end of the day, you win with pride and all of that. But I wanted to just highlight some of the factors that you think played out in this presidential and as well as National Assembly elections.
Okay, let me tell you, see, I have contested election before. And in 2019, there was no beavers. So, I mean, results were collected manually. So you find the agents from the polling units moving from the polling unit to the wards. There's a collation unit at the ward level. From the ward level, you move results manually, either on bike from whatever village, whatever transportation that is available for you, to the ward level. So when you take it to the ward level, for example, Plateau State has over 2,630 something polling units and about 250 wards. So for each of those polling units, results will be collected and then they will be moved from the polling units to the wards. From the wards, they will be moved to the local government. From the local government, of course, at each of this point, there was a collation. So from the ward to the local government, from the local government to the state. Now, let me tell you, what happens from the polling unit is simple. There's an election result sheet. So when you take the election result that has been entered into that sheet, I can't remember what they call them, but right now, during the presidential election, we have an EC8 something, form. So when the result has been filled with the result at the polling unit, it is moved to the ward. Now listen, when the result get to the ward, there is a new sheet that someone will collect all the polling unit's results that are under that ward and enter them into one sheet. That's where election is rigged. So if you're moving result manually from this sheet of paper to that sheet of paper, you can change figures. You can change this. So before now, elections are rigged at the polling unit when the forms are being changed from to the ward, where you have to have another new form to enter result that will move to the local government. From the local government, you move to the state. At this point, this was the reason why INEC said, why can't we just upload these results from the polling unit? So we're bypassing about 3-4 steps where people have to use their hands to enter results. So the beavers came into play, right? Now, when the beavers came into play, it gave a lot of people hope. Even though from on the onset, I mean, this is one of the reasons why if you remember, there was a delay in signing that electoral law. There was a delay because a lot of politicians didn't want the president to even sign it because it said it's going to expose us. Yes, as a matter of fact, a lot of politicians went on air to agree that we rigged the election. The late Nasser Mantu, who happens to be an indigene of Plateau, accepted on a live program on TV. He said, "Look, I have rigged the election. We have paid INEC officials to rig election. We have seen how someone won election, but we rejected it because we want somebody else to be there. So at the point of collation, this results manually, we changed the figures and gave it to somebody else. Now the beavers came to replace all those things to make it easy, free, and fair, and credible. Unfortunately, again, like I'm saying, you see, the major factor that caused all these things that we're going through today is because someone was desperate. Someone said he must lead. Somebody is saying that I must be president. Somebody is saying that I must be a senator. Somebody is saying that I must go to the House of Reps. So if this process is going to stop me, whatever it takes, we're going to truncate this process and make sure that we win this election. This is a major factor. Don't forget also that within the last 8 years, Nigerians have actually gone through quite a lot of sufferings. People, I mean, the poverty index has gone very, very high. On the plateau, you have about over 80% poverty index. Sokoto was rated the poorest state in Nigeria. Lagos State was rated the dirtiest state in city in Africa. People have gone through quite a lot because of the poor economic policies of the ruling party. From 2015 to this, inflation rate right now is over 21% as we speak. That's very high. Now the CBN Naira redesign monetary policy that came didn't even help matter. So the ruling party vested interests, were saying, oh, this redesign policy was instituted to stop us from contesting election. Why are you fighting that? You know what I'm saying? Now, when this was also put into place, you realize that Naira just went into what? Scarcity.
True.
So up to this moment, people are looking for money. What am I trying to say? A lot of people looked for money. A lot of people didn't have money. So monies became what? The tools to rig election again. Even though money was scarce, there was money in different currencies in the hands of other people who were using that same money. As a matter of fact, I learned in some other states, because there was no cash, they signed an MOU. We're going to rig the election for you. So after the election, when money become available, give us our money. There are quite a lot of things that happen. And then let me tell you again, I think ultimately, one of the major factors that made this election fail is still leadership. What's his name? Maxwell says everything rises and falls on leadership. So the leadership of INEC, the federal government said, we have signed the electoral law. And so we will make sure we enforce it. INEC said we are the ref. We will make sure that we follow the rules and make sure there was no rigging. Unfortunately, they didn't keep to their word. Leadership failed. Once leadership is failing at the top, it's going to affect everyone down there. So when you have done your work and you want to upload, and somebody is calling you from the top and is saying, do not upload, leadership is failing. And if leadership is failing at the top, I tell you the truth, it's going to affect everything down to the bottom, to a rock bottom. It will destroy quite a number of things. These are some of the factors that really affected the 2023 presidential, election. There's no leadership. It's still, it's still the same problem. Africa has gone through this. Africa is still going through this. We need leaders. We need men who can keep to their words. We need men who will say, when we agree to do A, we will do A. When we agree to do B, we will do B. We need men who, even when they are sitting in the position of power, will say, even if this is my ruling, this is my party candidate. But if people are complaining now, say, let's give them a fair hearing. Let's come to the table and agree. What is happening? What actually happening? Are there evidences that will really, or that are really showing that election was rigged? INEC officials collected money and refused to upload results on the beavers. If there are evidences, go back again and say, where are those places where results were not uploaded? Upload them. Bring these things up. But you see, what the leadership has done right now is just throw this complaint away. Announce the so-called winner. And they said, we have defended his election. We have defended his victory. On what ground?
Well, obviously, I think one of the bone of contention in this whole election and then the process is the fact INEC inability to upload results in real time on the IREF. I would like you to talk about that, but before then, we'll quickly go on a short break. And to our viewers out there, we'll go on a quick break. When we return, our phone lines will be open for you to call and add your voice to the conversation. Stay with us.
want me to vote for right, yo. Oh yo 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 yo, oh yo 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 yo. Say no to violence, say no to vote buying. If you love Nigeria, let's give peace a chance. If you love Nigeria, go right. If you love Nigeria, go peacefully. If you love Nigeria, no violence. If you love Nigeria, use your BBC rightly. Vote for prosperity, good character and credibility. If you love Nigeria, go right. If you love Nigeria, go peacefully. If you love Nigeria, no violence.
Thank you so much for staying with us. And in case you're just joining, this is National Talk on ECWA Television International, and we have been discussing on the 2023 presidential election as well as the National Assembly election. So what is your take on the process as well as the observations from international body on the process being marred with irregularities? I've been discussing with Samuel Dan Alta. No doubt you have been doing justice to the topic. Thank you so much. Our phone lines are now open. You can call and add your voice. We're also live on Facebook at ECWA Television International. Do well to drop your comment. So quickly, like I was saying before the break, I think one of the bone of contention is the fact that INEC was unable to upload results to the IREV in real time. And people have talked about, oh, is it that INEC doesn't have PR? Why is it that we had situations where people, I think even on a live show here, The Choice 2023, people have been calling, some laying complaint. We are yet to see INEC officials and all of that. So, like, the people talked about the fact that INEC was really unable to utilize the PR, or maybe is that INEC don't have PR, that in case where challenges are encountered, you see them responding immediately. Because for me, I think, and for many Nigerians out there, this is a very critical and critical election that matters a lot. When we talk about times of perils, then I think Nigerians have faced such, and that is why they actually turned out on the election. So I want to talk about this inability to upload results in real time, as well as the lack of utilization of the PR in real time.
The Electoral Act is a document that INEC is supposed to follow. So then, if you have a man who leads, who understands execution of project, then he's supposed to come up with feedback loops, you know, back and forth. What happens when this fails? What do we do when we're having challenges here? Don't also forget that INEC told us that the beavers is going to work. That there was a testing of the beavers. There was a test running of the beavers, and they said it was successful. It's going to work. Now, when strategy fails, what you're supposed to do is to return to option B. In this case, there was no option B. In this case, I don't even think there was a strategy. There was an intention to rig election, and it was completely carried out. Let me even tell you what probably a lot of Nigerians do not know yet. The beavers machine was designed and manufactured here in Nigeria by one of INEC's very intelligent technicians. It was designed, and it was said that the man who designed the machine has designed the machine in such a way that it will not fail. So for INEC to be saying on the election day that there is no network, so we cannot, you know, upload result, because the machine needs, you know, actually needs network to upload the result. When somebody sits down and tell you, but we have network on our phone, we have networks on our phone. How come the beavers does not have network? There was a place where some rumors came out, and it was confirmed that some of the INEC officials actually put the beavers on flight mode. There was a deliberate foul to make sure that the results are not uploaded. Why? And so the question here is, why were INEC officials refusing to upload certain results? It was very obvious that Nigerians came out in the name of the obedient movement to bring a candidate who has a clean record, to bring a candidate whom they believe in. And Nigerians have told themselves that this man we're talking about is not a saint. This man we're talking about is not somebody that has not committed sin before. But we can trust him with our destiny much more than we can trust these other two people. So it was glaring that this man is going to take the lead. And he was actually taking the lead. Otherwise, why wouldn't you upload results? Why won't you upload results? See, I don't know the presidential candidate of the Labour. I'm just an observant person. I'm just, I played my civic right. I went to the poll and I voted for the person of my choice. But you see, in every election, somebody must lead. In every election, so someone must come out to be the winner. Let me remind you that the day the result was announced in Nigeria, there was no joy anywhere. There was no rejoicing everywhere. In 2015, when Buhari was announced as a winner of the election, people went on the street. A lot of people went on the street and said, okay, at least now we have an army general who will face Boko Haram. Unfortunately, he has spent 8 years not defeating Boko Haram. I really don't know whether
the
this government
said that's one of their achievements.
That's not the. Well, we have not seen that. You see, when you say poverty, when you say you have fought poverty, let the life of the people speak. First of all, let us see the life of the people improving. But just recently, about 2 years ago, Nigeria was rated what, or named the capital headquarters of poverty. Then when you look at the multidimensional poverty index that just came out sometimes in October last year, it tells you that over 100 million Nigerians are living in abject poverty, below the poverty line of about $1.6 or thereabout. And then within this index, you have about 5 states that are very, very poor. I mean, their poverty index went above 80 something. In the same Nigeria where the government is saying that we have defeated poverty, in the same Nigeria where the government is saying that we have done well, there are still parts of Nigeria that you cannot travel to today because the Boko Haram, they are still there. Bandits have taken over certain cities in the northwest and in northeast and northwest and refuse to hand them over because the security operatives in this country have failed in those aspects. So what I'm trying to say is the fact that there are quite a lot of things that have marred this presidential elections. You see, leadership will permit that you accept that we have failed. So if you accept that we have failed in this area, then you go back to redress issues. Go back to the drawing board and say we have failed in this area. So, but I really see, in my opinion, I really see that the ruling party wants to continue ruling. So they rigged the election.
Well, you continue to maintain that the ruling party rigged the election, even though INEC has separated itself from that. They said they are not, they are impartial and they don't stand with any party or any candidate. What they stand to do is to represent Nigerians and to ensure that democracy continues, which is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And some people will tell you that since 1999, the return of power from military to democracy, people continue to say the election is not free and fair. Some people will refer you to Olufalaye when President Olusegun Obasanjo emerged. He said the election was not free and fair, and he kept going to court from one court to the other. In fact, at some point, it was said that he owed his lawyer over 50 million naira for 1 year, 6 months, like he has been going to court. And like that has been the case. Even in 2011, when Buhari lost the election, his supporters felt like they were victims. That the election was rigged and they resorted to the streets.
Of course.
Over 1,000 people lost their lives, and they didn't even see the victory of the same President Muhammadu Buhari in 2015. And as at 2015, the supporters of Goodluck Jonathan will tell you they become the victim. No, the process was not free and fair. So some people maintain that since the emergence of democracy, elections have
always been rigged.
Yes, you get. So, but the point here is, now, Labour Party is in court, PDP is also in court, and everybody is claiming, these parties are claiming victory. You get. So, I just want you to, I think we have a caller. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, thank you for calling.
Yes.
Please make your comment.
I'm really enjoying the topic there, but I have just a little contribution to put.
Please go ahead.
Although I don't know his name, the man with the suit there, he has just told you everything that happened. That is exactly what has happened. The election has been rigged. Everything about the beavers. In order for them not to have load from here, take to this place, take to that place, take to this place, everything should have done there in the police station, uploaded in the beavers, and then sent directly. But in order for you to know that the election has been rigged, somebody from somewhere will tell you. They even give them false number to upload the beavers. They will tell you it's not going, no network service, no this, no that, because they want to rig the election. It is not done like that. He has already said it in the beginning that they have run the beavers, and the beavers are working 100% successful. So how come about all these itches on the way? Somebody is behind this thing. In order for this thing to be well, I think if Nigeria have the money, let them recontest another election again. Or you hold INEC responsible. That is the best thing. Otherwise, we are not getting free and fair judgment on this particular election.
Thank you.
That is my little contribution.
Thank you so much. But you've not told us your name.
My name is Mr. Mohammed.
Mr. Mohammed, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Lagos.
Thank you so much for calling. Really appreciate it. He's also maintaining that the election was rigged. But then, like I was saying earlier on, Labour Party is in court, PDP is in court claiming victory. And then the likes of Adams or Oshobele were like, one of them must be lying.
Yes.
you get. And APC are celebrating victory. In fact, I think we have over 80 sons right now that they are all going to the court to defend. Tinubu, the president-elect, also said he's going to court and also are requesting that the court grant his application to also supervise. And people are saying, you want to supervise what? But he said he wants to defend. He wants to defend his victory as well. So, what do you make of this claim by PDP, Labour Party, and what's the reactions that one person must be lying?
So what is really happening right now? Since it is very obvious that most Nigerians agree that the election. Okay,
sorry,
please. Yes.
Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Well, do well to call us back. I think there are some technical glitches, like INEC said.
Exactly. Technical glitches. So PDP is in court claiming victory. Labour is in court claiming victory. I think that's a better contest for me.
Okay.
I think that's a better contest for me. So what PDP and Labour need to do now is to go there and prove who actually won the election. But for the ruling party, we know they lost election completely. They lost election. I mean, it's very obvious. See the movement of the people of different parties. We've had Photoshop of pictures and videos going on before the presidential election, telling us mass of these people came here, mass of these people, hundreds of thousands of people came out for this party and that party. You see, but when you look at, go back to YouTube on the 25th of February and begin to look at on your WhatsApp pages, you see how people were following the counts. So you hear people calling a particular party, maybe it's Labour. As a matter of fact, let me tell you,
I think there's even a trending song right now.
Well, of course, yes. As a matter of fact, I saw one Kenyan wrote a song for Labour, saying that he wants to be obedient. Let the obedient spirit come, to Kenya. But the point I'm trying to say is Nigerians took ownership of this last election, and they said, we are not going to go anywhere. We're going to make sure we count the votes, and we're going to make sure that whatever they mean by uploading, even if we don't understand, let us see them upload it up there, and we'll have our peace. Now that brought about what the refusal for them to upload, because they realized that a particular party, which in my opinion is the Labour Party, they were sweeping the polls, sweeping the polling units, sweeping the ward with a landslide victory. So if they continue to upload, it's going to be like what we call in table tennis cantab. Their win is going to double other parties. Let me give you another example. The PDP Situation Room in Lagos actually said that Labour won with over 900,000 votes in Lagos. Then INEC uploaded 583,000 votes, and then APC 581,000 votes, or something like that. What happened to the other votes? Yes, please.
Hello, good evening. Okay, please go ahead.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening. How are you?
Well, fine, ma.
Please, what's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Ability from Natural State.
Thank you, Ability, for calling. Please make your comment.
My name is Ability.
Yes, I got that.
Natural State.
Okay. Go
Yes,
ahead,
man.
please.
I want to show you and tell you that even spirit in the forest, they know that Labour Party win this election. Seriously.
But the result coming from INEC shows that APC won. I think he has made his point.
He has made his point.
Thank you, ability for
Yes,
calling. Well,
yes,
going
yes.
by INEC's
Yes,
statistics
yes.
now, well, I just wanted to join this as you respond. He said
Even spirits in the forest
knows that Labour Party won.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Thank you for calling.
Oh, I'm calling from Kano State.
Okay, what's your name, please?
I'm
What?
calling from Kano State. I'm Jacinta.
Okay. Please make your comment.
Jacinta.
Thank you, Jacinta, for calling. Please make your comment.
Okay, please, what I want to say in this election is that... Okay, what I want to say is that everybody, even the fish in the water, knows that Labour Party win this election. They win this election. In my village in Anambra State, where Peter Obi came from, they did not do election. Ask me why. There is no Labour Party logo in the ballot paper. So the people now refuse to vote. You know, if one person now votes, they will say they have voted. So they ask them to come back tomorrow. That is being Sunday. On Sunday they went back. 5 people vote. They said the machine has spoiled. So my place is they don't even vote. A whole Labour Party is coming from. And such a thing, I'm living in Kano State. Such a thing will not happen here in Kano. It will not happen here in Kano State. I'm living. What I'm saying is that, in fact, I don't know. They say that a Christian and an Igbo man will never rule Nigeria. And I'm saying that is true.
Thank you so much. Thank you for calling. I think we've had lots of information alleging politics of tribalism and
religion
and all of that,
what have you.
Where we discourage that humanity first, we're all Nigerians.
That's right.
If we are voting, it should be on the basis of competence, capacity,
character,
and good antecedents,
exactly,
and all of that.
Exactly.
We have another caller.
Yes.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Evening, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Please make your comments.
It's Halaji Faisal speaking.
Okay, from where?
From Adamawa.
Okay, thank you for calling. Please make your comments.
Okay, all these things that this guy is saying, sitting with suit before you, he just be staying lying.
Okay, what? No, hold on.
Knows that.
No, we won't permit name calling. No, I don't think we'll take that. Please, when you call us, you have to be civil with your language. No name calling and then hate speech or some foul
freedom
language.
of speech.
Yes, I know. Why you know, we live in a country where some you have the freedom of speech.
Yes.
The freedom after speech might not be guaranteed, but
exactly.
we should have respect for one another. I think that is very important.
Yes,
so quickly, going by the number that INEC have given us of the voters, number of accredited voters, and then the number of the PVC collected, which is 87 million, shows that just barely 30 million Nigerians, 30%, barely 30% came out to vote. So I want to just talk about that number, why we are seeing that this is one of the elections where we have high turnout. How come we're seeing just that? And then I think that is also resorting to voter apathy. We have election coming up, so maybe we make comments on that.
Actually, if you look at a lot of states in the northeast and northwest, you just realize that the insecurity, is still going on there. So the insecurity may be responsible for the low turnout of votes. For example, in Goza, on the day of election, on the 25th, there was an attack where about 10 or more people lost their lives. But the people didn't give up. So when the security people came and resisted
we have another caller.
Okay, fine.
This will be our last caller. Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Good evening. Please make your comment.
Hello? My name is Paul, calling from Taraba.
Okay, Paul, please make your comment.
Honestly, I'm very happy with. Please make your comment. Honestly, I'm very happy with. I'm very happy with my Oga's analysis. That guy in Adama must be crazy.
No, no,
Everybody
no,
knows
no,
the
no,
truth
no. We
that
won't. We
Labour
won't
Party
take
have
that.
won
Please,
this
no
election.
insults.
The election has been rigged.
Okay, thank you so much for calling. I think he has made his point.
Yes,
He's
yes.
also alleging that the election was rigged. But going by INEC statistics,
Yes.
APC had about 80 million.
Yes.
And I think that qualified
Yes.
them compared to others.
Yes, INEC told us that over 80 to 90 something million Nigerians registered, you know, and then about 80 something million collected their PVCs. Then we have less than 20 million people who went to the poll. And I want to believe very strongly that the insecurity in many parts of the country, you know, it's what happened to those people. And I was trying to give an example before the last caller came in with Goza. You know, the Goza is a village at the extreme end, close to the border between Nigeria and Chad, where people came out to exercise their civil right. And all of a sudden, gunshots from nowhere. The Boko Haram people came, probably because of their religion, probably because of who they're coming out to vote. And so these Boko Haram people came and disrupted that civic activity. But you see, something happened there. Over 10 people lost their lives. When the Nigerian army came and resisted the Boko Haram people, sent them away, the INEC officials came back again. The people went back to the polling units. They queued and they gave their votes to whoever they decided to give their votes to. So when you look at the numbers of people, the total number of votes casted, compared to the total number of PVC collected, Nigeria is still going through insecurity. Yeah, quite a lot of people didn't come out to vote because, in fact, there were rumors that this election was going to be marred by fighting and violence, you know. And I thank God for the armed forces, the security, you know, department of Nigeria. I mean, they came out and said, if anyone comes out to disrupt the electoral process, the election of 2023, he's going to end up with a bloody nose. That's the language, you know, they use. Yes. So look at what happened in states like Lagos. There was a caller who was talking about the fact that somewhere in Anambra State, people didn't even vote because the Labour logo was not properly you know, captured on the ballot paper, so they were confused, so they actually didn't even vote. But by the time they went back the next morning, about 5-6 people voted and they said the machines are all bad, so they couldn't vote. They went back. So there are a number of factors, you know, like these ones that I've just mentioned right now, that are responsible for the low turnout of votes. But then you now realize that a lot of other people came out. So about 15 to 20 million people coming out to vote is not a small number when you talk about a presidential election. I mean, so one other thing again, you realize that the youth of Nigeria have woken up. The youth have woken up, and they said, we want to be represented. We want a good future. We don't want to leave this country. This is the only country that we have. So we must stay here and fix this country. And how do we fix it? If the country sees there's an election and we have the right to go and vote for whomever we think has the capacity, like you said, the competency, the character, the courage to fix Nigeria, let's go and support that person. And that was exactly what happened. Unfortunately, probably the government, the ruling party, didn't see that coming. And so the Nigerian youth went to support who they wanted to support. And it was glaring, it was obvious, it was so clear that this man was leading, and they said, no, we cannot have this. So I'm so even shocked that you hear leaders on viral videos saying because the man, the Labour Party candidate is an Igbo person, there's going to be war, there's going to be a separation, all manner of wrong ideology being sent to those people, and just to discourage people from exercising their civil rights.
But quickly, we have another election coming up. That's the gubernatorial state assembly election.
Yes.
And then some people are already expressing voter apathy as well as zero confidence in the process. I think when government is closer to the people, that's where participation is really expected.
Exactly.
Local government, state level, it's not a level where you say, no, I will not participate, because at the end of the day, policies will be made and it will affect you if you don't. So I just want to speak to the conscience of Nigerians as regard the coming election.
I'm calling on all Nigerians to go out again on the 18th, right? 18th of March of 2023 for the governorship and the House of Assembly election. Go and vote your conscience. Go and vote for that new Nigeria. Continue the fight. You see, winners don't give up. Winners continue to fight. The victory and the new Nigeria we're looking for will emerge over a period of time. So when you go down, you rise again. When you fall, you rise again. We are very disappointed. Quite a lot of Nigerians are disappointed with the presidential, election and the result that was announced and the person that was declared the winner. That should not stop you from going out on the 18th to vote for your conscience. Vote for that person that represents the value system that you want. This time around is not presidential. This time around is at the state level. Don't leave your destiny in the hands of people who are, who don't have a future, who don't have a plan, for your children, who don't have a plan for you. So 18th is coming. And we are calling on all Nigerians in all the 36 states, including, the federal capital has actually finished the election. So in all the 36 states, go and vote for your conscience and vote for a new Nigeria.
Thank you so much. Great analysis as always. Really appreciate you for creating time to speak with us. Thank you. And to our viewers out there, thank you so much for staying with us. Do know that it takes you and I to build that great Nigeria we desire, and we can only build that country with justice and integrity. Let's go out there and exercise our civic responsibility. Thank you. Until we come your way next week, you have a blessed day.